stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego?
Here.
Commissioner Esparza?
Here.
Commissioner Lopez?
Here.
Commissioner Vice Chair Gillum?
Here.
Commissioner Chair Hyde?
Here. Approval of minutes of December the 10th.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Abrego?
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Vice Chair Gillum?
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Hyde?
Yes. Public comment cards?
No cards.
No cards. Okay. Oral reports. The next item on the list is number 2 here. Sales tax public information presentation.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I'm going to go through a presentation on Measure Y.
Hey, wait.
Can you do the lights?
Oh, there it is. It should be.
Okay, so this is a informational item regarding Measure Y, a proposed sales tax increase in Paramount, which is on the March 3rd ballot. Over the last several decades, Paramount has transformed into a safe, well-maintained city with clean parks and facilities and great services that our residents have come to enjoy. It also provides a vibrant business environment, and we are committed to do our best to continue to enhance the quality of life here in Paramount. All these things have proven in many aspects, including the huge decline in gang-related crimes, significant improvement over unemployment, and in partnering with the school district. We also see higher graduation rates and overall college participation. Our residents see this as well. A recent survey done by a reputable polling company, FM3, concluded 66% of respondents believe Paramount provides a better quality of life than neighboring cities. It is evident that residents recognize that Paramount is committed to maintaining the best possible level of service and improving the quality of life for our community. Here is a list of things that we have done to fill the financial gap over the past decade. First and foremost, staffing was reduced 25% from 122 people to 92 today, and that was over 122 in 2012. Various benefits have been reduced, such as a suspension of a 401 plan. Employees are required to pay a share of health insurance and also pensions now. To continue to provide vital city services while keeping the operational costs down, we have been innovative by partnering with other agencies and third parties. In recent years, the YMCA began servicing all aquatics programs. In addition, Long Beach Transit is now providing a broader and more efficient transit in Paramount. On the revenue side, we took Measure P to the voters in 2015, which was the utility user tax amendment, and it passed by a majority of the voters. However, this increase in revenue cannot come close to what has been lost in redevelopment. We have also been aggressive in obtaining various grants for one-time or specific projects, and this slide shows some of the things that have been accomplished since 2000. However, there's no doubt that we need an additional revenue source to continue providing vital city services. A sales tax measure would meet this goal. And for every dollar that is spent, 9.5 cents goes to sales tax. However, the city only receives 1 penny from that. So for instance, if you bought a pair of shoes that cost $100, the city would receive $1. If you bought a computer that cost $1,000, the city would receive $10. And if you bought a car that cost $10,000, the city would only receive $100. If the city does not pass a sales tax measure now, in the future, other agencies could pass a measure. Here's an article on the AQMD, who's one of those agencies that's considering passing a sales tax measure. LA County's sales tax maximum is 10.25%. Currently, the city is at 9.5%, which means that there's room for a 0.75% increase in sales tax for the city and for other agencies. And the AQMD is not alone in seeking sales tax dollars. This chart shows examples of successful attempts by other agencies to increase sales tax revenue. This includes Measure R, M, and H. Excuse me. And if the trend continues and Paramount is not seeking the remaining 0.75%, which would stay entirely in Paramount, it's very likely other agencies will take this in the future. This is an example of Measure H, and this was passed in 2017, and it was to go to homeless programs. We've estimated that $3.5 million has been collected in Paramount alone since that time, but only $180,000 has come to the city to spend locally. So if a sales tax measure is not passed, the current estimate is that Paramount, if a sales tax measure is passed, the current estimate is that Paramount would receive approximately $4.5 million per year, and all that money would stay in Paramount. Oops, sorry. Okay, here's a list of sales tax rates among different cities in the region. Paramount's one of the lowest, again at 9.5%. As you can see, many neighboring cities have already hit the county maximum of 10.25%, and in fact, Santa Fe Springs is at 10.5%, and they receive special state legislation to exceed the Los Angeles County limit. Those cities at 9.5%, including Cerritos, Lakewood, Norwalk, and Bellflower, are all considering increases. Data from the state shows that Paramount residents shop outside of Paramount, and what that means is that our residents are already paying a higher sales tax percentage. So in summary, Paramount has made tremendous progress over the last few decades. It is evident that our residents are positive about the city's direction. However, we have been facing difficult challenges, and after many changes and adjustments, expenditures are still outpacing revenues. And in order to continue to provide vital city services, an additional revenue source is needed. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from anyone?
Sure.
Go
I have a
ahead.
question. Is that $4.5 million going to cover the expenses, or?
Yeah, yes, it will. That's what the anticipated structural deficit is. So the 4.5 would continue to cover that deficit.
Just for all you members that are here on the commission, I was invited to attend a meeting held by the city. And since, as most of you know, I work in the evenings and I wasn't able to attend, so I sent our Commissioner Roy in my place. Can you tell us kind of about what went on at that meeting? And
That was a long time ago, Jim.
no, it was a couple months ago.
Yeah, we're just talking about what it would go, if it will stay here, that raise of, what is it,
0.75%.
1.5%?
Yeah.
Yeah, 0.75%, 3/4 of a cent.
Yeah.
3/4.
Will stay, all of that will stay here. If we don't do it, the state will put it in and they'll get it.
Or the county. Them,
Or the county,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, okay.
And then-
That's what
But it
we
was,
would.
yeah, just,
Okay. The second question is, this just falls under retail, correct? Or is it anything that?
This is just sales tax, that's correct.
Okay.
Any
So
place that charges sales
right,
tax.
right.
you-
with that, I guess I saw the neighbor cities have a little higher tax, but it doesn't discourage businesses from coming to Paramount then, right? If they see an increase.
No, it wouldn't, especially given that the surrounding communities are either at the 10.25% or are considering to go to that higher level.
Okay.
Well, this will be on our ballot this coming
March 3rd.
March. Now, are the other cities that you had asked us that are,
A good,
They're looking
good
for
chance they were.
they're
they
looking
are.
for November, and
November.
AQMD may also be looking at November, the
Okay.
November ballot.
if we get to the max, then AQMD can't add another
That's correct.
0.25% or
They could
something.
only go to the cities that are not at the max.
Gotcha.
So we would go at what, 10 point?
So we'd be at 10.25.
10.25%.
10.2.
Thank you, John.
Sure.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda, number 3, continued public hearing, zoning ordinance text amendment number 16. Your staff report?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. This item is a request to allow indoor recreational uses in the M1 and M2 zones. We have been receiving inquiries recently regarding indoor recreational uses and believe that these types of businesses are a good reuse of industrial buildings. Associate Planner Rena Schatzel will handle this item. Rena?
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Chair, members of the Commission. As Mr. Carver said, this is a zoning text amendment, number 16, for indoor recreation uses in the M1 and M2 zones. The request is for a recommendation from the Planning Commission to the City Council to adopt the zoning ordinance text amendment, or ZOTA, to allow and regulate indoor recreation uses in the M1 and M2 zones. And the first thing staff did was we researched other cities and we looked at what the needs of Paramount was and came up with a definition. This was in your staff report. So the definition for indoor recreation facility will be the use of an enclosed warehouse building designed and equipped for the conduct of sports, leisure time activities, and other customary and usual recreation activities, but it excludes fitness gyms, and which is operated within the building as a business and open to the general public for a fee. It will be, each item or each use will be subject to a CUP, so the item will come before Planning Commission, who will weigh it on its merits and see if it meets all the minimal zoning code requirements that I'll discuss in a little bit, as well as any additional items for potentially security or other needs. And as we looked at other cities, some of the parking standards were quite extensive, and looking at the parking requirements for Paramount, the underlying zoning standards for the M1 or M2 zoning were satisfactory. And if more parking is needed, there is a provision in Paramount's code for a joint use agreement. So these are the minimum standards an applicant must meet in order to submit an application for a CUP at a specific site in the M1 or M2 zone. Of course, indoors only. The doors, usually roll-up doors in these warehouse buildings, must remain closed during business hours unless otherwise requested for other purposes, potentially ventilation. Ancillary uses are not to exceed 20% of the total building area. And by ancillary uses, that would include snack bars, refreshments, if they want to sell refreshments to the users, or storage areas inside for the equipment. That all cannot exceed more than 20% of the total building area. Ancillary uses shall also maintain the same or fewer hours of operation as the main use. And then again, parking needs to be in compliance with the underlying zone. It meets their needs. And typically these uses operate after business hours, so most of the manufacturing businesses will have already been closed, and these businesses like to operate after school and after 5 p.m. And finally, the last condition is only applicable to the M2 zone. Outdoor storage will not be allowed in the M1 zone with a indoor recreation use. And so if storage is needed in an M2 zone, it will require a CUP. As is customary with all other uses in the M2 zone, outdoor storage requires a CUP. So in summary, this item, as Mr. Carver said, supports indoor recreation, supports the transition toward a future of our manufacturing zones with less heavy manufacturing. It provides new and creative leasing option for the property owners who, again, as Mr. Carver has said, we've had several requests over the past few years for soccer, for cheerleading, and other indoor recreation activities. It also promotes healthy living and physical activity, and it provides new options to meet indoor needs, such as playing field demands. That's a trampoline park on the right. You saw a rock climbing indoor recreation in one of the slides, and inflatable play formats. Those formats may be considered under the CUP by the Planning Commission. So staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number PC 20003, recommending City Council adopt the ordinance for zone ordinance text amendment number 16. Thank you.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion?
It's a public hearing, Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. I'd like to open public hearing. All those in favor, please come up and state your name. Anyone opposed?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Vice Chair Gillum,
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Hyde.
Yes. Read by title and only and adopt Planning Commission Resolution Number PC 20003, recommending to City Council approval of the attached ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to allow the regulate indoor recreation uses in the M1 light manufacturing and M2 heavy manufacturing zone. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion we adopt the Planning Commission Resolution number PC 2020003.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez, Commission Vice Chair Gillum,
Yes.
Commission Chair Hyde.
Yes. Next item on the Planning Commission zoning ordinance text number 15. Your staff report on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. This item is a request to allow restaurants and food halls at an existing business park on Alondra Boulevard, west of Garfield Avenue in the PDPS zone. Later this evening, the Development Review Board will look at a remodel of the building where the uses are proposed, and Assistant Planning Director John King will go over the details of this item.
John, thank you, Commission Chair Hyde and Commissioners. So, this is another zoning ordinance text amendment. You can see we've been doing these with quite some regularity. We are working hard with you to update our code and get some new uses in. Food halls and restaurants. So in this case, there was an applicant. Most of like the previous indoor recreation, those have been more city-driven. This one of the property owners in this area is applying for this. And this is to recommend City Council adoption of a zoning ordinance text amendment to allow restaurants and food halls with a conditional use permit in the planned development with performance standards zone at 7210 to 7340 Alondra, as John Carver mentioned. Here's an aerial photo just to show you where it is. So Alondra is running east and west at the top, and the property is just to the west of Garfield, which is here running north and south. And it's all bordered with that red dash, and there's three properties. There's only three property owners, 7210, 7300, and 7340 you'll see there. And the property owner from 7340, which is on the right side there, the eastern portion, applied for this. That property is 6,500 square feet, a little more, and has a 3,300 square foot building. The history of this zone, so it used to be within the M1 zone. 1987, the City Council, following the Planning Commission recommendation at the time, changed that area zone from that M1 to PDPS. It's adopted by ordinance and allowed for a little more flexibility. There was some new construction going on. I believe there used to be a dairy here from way back. And allowed for kind of a mixture. So rather than have a traditional M1 zone, it kept some of that manufacturing but took out a lot of it, and allowed for commercial uses, and again, limited commercial uses. So in this case, no restaurants were in there or have been an option at all. So it's kind of interesting, no restaurants, and that's where the applicant now would like to do a restaurant food hall kind of concept. So food halls, just to give an introduction, I'm sure you're familiar with this, and they're getting more popular. It's not a new concept. There are some classic examples. Probably in this area, the most widely known would be Grand Central Market, downtown Los Angeles. You have some in Boston, Faneuil Hall, the Ferry Building in San Francisco, Pike's Place in Seattle, but there's more and more popping up locally. So they have generally an open layout, different small businesses, typically restaurants, with a common seating area. So if a group goes to a food hall, they have the option of, different members can buy food from various vendors and meet at a common seating area. That's the thing. And some of them have their own little seating area. They're typically small businesses, and they have innovative design and innovative concepts. So it's a new kind of a more contemporary type of setting, and it's a very social setting. So you'll see here, there's smiling people on the right. That's these photos are taken from a LA Times article, and people line up. They can be popular, some more than others. And this location. So here's some photos just to reorient ourselves, refamiliarize ourselves. You can see just slightly different view. It's the site of Platini Jeans. The applicant runs this business. Their wholesale portion is very successful. They trade internationally. They're doing some great business with China right now. So and jeans, they do a lot of jeans and some other types of clothing. The retail portion, on the other hand, it's been a struggle, honestly, for the last few years. And as you can imagine, with internet sales and internet purchases, it's taken a bite out of their sales. So they've been grappling with that and weighing different options. Actually, as the Development Review Board approved a concept a few years ago, they decided to go with this new food hall concept, and they're very serious about it. So we're looking at this, and staff is in favor of changing the code. And in looking at this PDPS zone that was from 1987, we realized that there are just a few minor changes that would be helpful for the city, for the community in general. A lot of it's for consistency, to make sure it matches with the changes that you approved. You recommended approval for the city council to change for the M1 and the M2 zones. So consistency, main thing being uses. So some of the uses that had been allowed by just getting a business license in other parts of town were moved to the category of requiring a conditional use permit. Examples are cabinet shop, manufacture of cosmetics, manufacture of articles from previously prepared metal materials, textile manufacturing. So for consistency, doing the same with this zone. Also adding some more extensive pollution control texts that are in those zone chapters or sections, and requiring drought-tolerant landscaping and water-efficient irrigation to match with all the zones in town. We also recommending to clarify sign requirements so the signage matches with the central business district, and prohibiting window security bars and tarps as carports. So just kind of minor tune-ups. In summary, so this is a nice option for the improved use of a struggling retail business. It does require a conditional use permit, so it allows the opportunity to really get in there and review a particular proposal, send it off to public safety and the sheriff's department for their input. Food halls, they really are known as excellent business incubators. A lot of small business owners, they start off in a food hall and graduate up to a more traditional brick and mortar location. Some might start off, serving some type of food at weekend gatherings or food carts. They move on to the food hall. So it really is, it's a great way to develop business, an economic development driver. Paramount residents, they have commented on the need for this type of business. So we've heard these comments, and we take them seriously. And this will also bring a contemporary upgrade to this property that really is in need of a little change. So with that, we recommend approval. And if you have any questions, I can answer them, and the applicants here in the audience as well. So anyway, recommending that you adopt the resolution, which would approve the recommendation to the City Council changing the zoning for this use.
Any questions of staff for open public hearing? This is an open public hearing. Anyone in favor, please come up and state your name. Anyone opposed?
Make a motion, close public hearing.
Second it?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez, Commission Vice Chair Gillum,
Yes.
Commission Chair Hyde.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is public hearing amendment to Conditional use permit number 8.
You need to take a vote on the
Oh,
item.
I'm sorry.
You have to vote.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm pushing things. All right, do I hear a motion in order?
Make a motion, we adopt Planning Commission Resolution Number PC 20004.
I'll second it.
Now, roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Vice Chair Gillum,
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Hyde.
Yes. Okay, now on to the next item. Amendment to conditional use permit number 858. Here's staff report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, this item is a request to amend conditional use permit number 858, and that's at the Big Bend Car Wash across the street diagonally from City Hall. CUP 858 was approved by the Planning Commission in February of 2019, and that was to allow self-serve car wash. The applicant would like to maintain a limited full-service car wash, and John King will give you more details.
Thank you. Commissioner Chair Hyde and Commissioners. So yep, it's right across the street, more or less, and we're recommending, or before we were doing the recommendation, let's take a look at this. It's an amendment to the CUP. Originally, it was to convert the then existing full-service car wash to strictly express, and express meaning self-service. You drive through, you stay in the car, it operates by itself, and you vacuum your own vehicle. So that was what you approved in February. What the applicant is back for is to modify that a little bit, to still keep that option throughout the operating hours, but to also have, during certain days and certain hours, the option to have some of that full service. So to restore what used to be for Monday through Friday, certain hours of the day, only Monday through Friday. So in the C3 zone, just some glimpses on the bottom of how it used to look, different eras. And here's how it looks now. That's in good shape. You can see I'm gonna go back. You see the green on top. Now it's kind of a reddish theme. So you approved this request from February to install new and upgraded equipment. It upgraded the conveyor inside the car wash tunnel, so it's more up-to-date equipment and easier on the cars. 18 vacuum stalls with canopies were installed along the north property line as you approved. And here's a site plan, just kind of walk you through it. Have the hours there on the right. So again, the express hours were approved for 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. all days, and that's still what the applicant is looking to do. But the applicant has actually had a lot of comments from customers. He's there almost every day during construction. He's very hands-on, and customers will drive by or stop over and say, they're disapprove of going all the way to self-service. They really appreciate the full service option. So according to the applicant, they've actually pleaded him to restore part of the full service. So we're looking 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And there could be some express throughout and before and after those hours. So looking at the plan, so Paramount's on the left running north and south, and the yellow arrows demonstrate where the vehicles will go through. On the canopy, so there's lane 1, 2, and 3. So lane 1 would be the uppermost of the 3 lanes. Lane 1, there it is on the cursor, would be the full service option, and there'll be signage to direct guests. They would stop right under that canopy, get out, and they could wait inside. There's a waiting area that would be constructed under this proposal. Now, we were grappling with, nobody is a fan of the honking that happens at the end of full service. So the applicant came up with a creative idea, like restaurants, where you get like a buzzer, a vibrating pager. So the pager would vibrate once the service is complete. So that cuts down on all the noise. You wait inside in the comfort of air conditioning and watch a game on the big screen. And then there's in yellow, you'll see there's a full service area. So those 3 vacuum stalls would be reserved for full service, for some actual full service vacuuming and drying. And off they go. You remember that you reviewed and approved an extensive initial study and mitigated declaration back in February. You adopted that. For the purpose of this, the change is so minor, and that initial study mitigated declaration actually did consider the existing full service at the time. So we're recommending not going with the full new study. We're recommending an addendum, just a small addendum to the full to include the full service. We're very comfortable with this on the staff level. Mainly, one big thing is the 3-month review. You'll remember that you did require a 3-month review. There was a concern about noise. So to evaluate the concern, possible extra noise with the added vacuum cleaners, 3 months after the business is up and running again, the applicant is to come back for your review, and you could take action if there are any issues. We don't expect any, but you do have that option. With that, you'd also have the opportunity to assess this flexible, full service, self-service option. So, kind of in summary, the remodel conversion, it's in the appropriate zone here in the commercial area where it's allowed. The applicant's requesting the change in response to customer requests, so really meeting customer demands, local demands. And the three-month review allows for a scheduled assessment of the business. So, as you can expect, we recommend approval with what you've seen. And we do, first, there's you're looking at approving the addendum to the mitigated negative declaration, and then adopting a resolution which would approve the amendment to CUP 858 subject to conditions. And if you have any questions, I'm here and the applicant is also here.
I have a question. On the parking for their employees, I didn't see any on that plan.
Yeah, let's go back. So you'll remember a few things. The applicant has worked with his employees to carpool and to actually a lot of them bicycle. I can't remember if I showed a photo or not, but there's bikes that would go in the bushes there. So you required as part of the application a bike rack to kind of clean that up, and there was a requirement to have a camera on the bike rack. So the bike rack is ready to be installed if it's not installed already. And also the employees would have access to the parking on the north.
On the north.
On the north side?
On the north, right, in the vacuum stalls. So that's a business decision for the applicant to kind of give up some stall or not.
I had somebody come to me and ask me where the parking is, where they're going to be parking, because that street is already overloaded.
Right, and you also remember the
Every place.
that's right, and the reduction of the employees. So it's going from 12 down to 3, and then it might tick a little bit upward.
Is it three employees?
That's what you approved in February, but with
Right.
the added full service, the applicant mentioned an employer or two. Yeah. It's right, and at your discretion, you're welcome to call the applicant up.
Any other questions of staff?
It's an open hearing.
Yeah, this is an open public hearing. All those in favor, please come up and state your name. If you'd like to speak to us, now's the time, sir. Anyone opposed?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second it?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Vice Chair Gillum,
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Hyde.
Yes.
Okay, that's the hearing.
Next item on the agenda, conditional use permit number,
Mr. Chairman,
no, no.
two
Vote
more
for it now.
items on.
oh,
You
Did I
you need
miss
to
one?
vote on the mitigated
Oh,
negative declaration of the
okay,
amendment, and then
gotcha.
to vote on the item.
okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the mitigated declaration of, negative declaration related to conditional permit number 858?
15.
Do I hear a motion? I hear a motion over here from Jaime?
Yes, I make a motion that we use permit number 858.
One spoke and the other, he motioned first, you seconded.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Vice Chair Gillum,
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Hyde.
Yes. Now are we in good shape?
Now to vote on the item itself.
Okay, now, do I hear a motion to approve the amendment on conditional use permit 858. And adopt.
Make a motion, we adopt the use permit number 858.
I hear a motion and a
Second it.
second. I heard a second down here. Go ahead.
I think his mic is
You-
not
you
on.
need
Is
to
your
turn your
mic on,
mic
Jaime?
on.
I thought that's what we were.
Yeah, I
Thank
couldn't
you.
hear you. Sorry.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice Chair Gillum,
Yes.
Commission Chair Hyde.
Yes. Okay, now on to item number 6. Okay, this is conditional use permit number 878. Your staff report on this.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This item is a request for a conditional use permit to allow the import and wholesale of beer and wine at an existing wholesale business in a small industrial development on Garfield Avenue. And this is located in the PDPS zone. And planning intern Josephine Pham will give you the details of the request.
Thank you, John Carver, and thank you, Commissioner Hyde and Commissioners. Tonight, I'll be presenting a proposal for conditional use permit number 878 for SS Wholesale Inc. doing business as Jobbers Wholesale at 16101. Can we get the lights, please? Thank you. 16101 to 16103 Garfield Avenue.
Josephine, if you could
Yeah.
hold on just a second. We don't have these screens up.
Main PC.
We had it, now they're rebooting everything.
Okay.
Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay, perfect. So here we go. The request is to allow the import and wholesale of beer and wine at the existing warehouse. The property is located at 1610103, and it is zoned for planned development with performance standards, PDPS. With that, the performance standards allows for commercial, office uses, wholesale, and limited light manufacturing. This is the front of the business, looking northwest from Garfield Avenue. Okay. And this is the aerial map. Garfield runs to the right, running north and south, and Alondra is to the north, going left and right. This is the existing site plan. The subject property outlined in blue is 48,879 square feet. The whole building itself is 24,351 square feet, and the subject suite is 5,740 square feet. A little background, they've been in operation since 2018, and as a condition, staff has asked the applicant not to sell any alcohol, and the applicant has respectfully followed the request and demonstrated a record of positive operations since then. The applicant now wants to add beer and wine to serve as a one-stop shop for their clientele looking for a broader range of beverage choices. They currently provide retailers with products that you would see at gas stations, markets, and liquor stores, which include a variety of snacks, sodas, coffee, batteries, things you will find at a pit stop on a road trip. Hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Sunday. The Department of Alcohol Beverage Control, ABC, requires 2 types of licenses for applicants. Type 9 for beer and wine importation, and Type 17 for beer and wine wholesale. ABC has evaluated the proposal and will issue the licenses if Planning Commission approves the CUP. They will continue operations with no retail sales and will not be open to the general public. The Sheriff's Department and Paramount's Public Safety also reviewed the request and found no reason to object. As for conditions of approval for the property improvements, they will be required to install 1 bike rack in order to help in our efforts to promote sustainable modes of transportation, and refurbishing and repainting wrought iron fencing around the front of the property. With that, we recommend that Planning Commission adopt resolution number PC 20001, approving CUP number 878. I'll be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Any questions of staff?
I have a question. to ask.
Go ahead.
Is the applicant paying for the painting of the wrought iron, or is that the property owner, or are they the owners of the
It
whole
would
complex?
depend. Usually it's for the property owner.
Oh,
So the
okay.
applicant would talk
Pass
to the
it on to
property owner,
him.
yeah, and let him know we need it to be done. Any other property improvements, just like that.
Thank you.
This is an open public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak in favor of this, please come up and state your name. Hit the button, there you go, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Sherry Olson. I'm here on behalf of SNS Wholesale. Just a couple, just so we kind of reiterated what the staff went over. We concur with the conditions of approval. This is not a retail license. This is a wholesale license, so it's completely different regulations through the Department of Alcohol Beverage Control. So I want to make sure everybody's clear here. It cannot be sold to the general public. General public cannot come in. It's mainly sold, our products are sold to retailers, and the ABC has strict restrictions on our licenses types. And we're here to answer any questions. Our business hours are very reasonable. We close at 7 p.m. very early. We're here to service retailers, and that's what we do.
Your local business now, because you don't have the beer and wine, most of your retailers that you serve, are they in the community or outside, or where?
They are in the community. They come in, and we sell them products to supply in their stores.
Right.
So
Do you have many outside customers
we
outside
have
the
some
city
outside
limits?
customers, but primarily our business is within the city of Paramount.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
I have one question.
Go ahead.
What does your trucking activity look like there, if any?
We have deliveries that are delivered early in the morning. We usually have 1 or 2 trucks that come in, but it's really, the parking lot is not crowded at all, so they come in and exit without disrupting any flow of the traffic on the major streets. Our hours are pretty early, so we're in there really early and then we're out.
Are these diesel trucks by any chance?
I'm assuming they're 18-wheelers. I would have to check with the owner of the business on that.
Is there any kind of signage that basically informs truck drivers to not leave their trucks idle for more than 5 minutes, as there are in other business
We can
locations?
supply those signage and we can post it on our walls, as we'll take care. We're the leasee there, so we can make sure that those are posted. And I know that it was brought up, some painting needs to be done, but we'll make sure that happens. We don't own the property, but we will work with the property owner to ensure whatever you guys request of us, that it's taken care of.
Right.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, you're going to be importing beer and wine also?
Right now, what we're doing is we're buying from the rectifiers. So they make it and then they supply it to the wholesalers, and then the wholesalers.
Then you buy from the wholesalers, got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. Okay.
It's a process, and ABC and then the state of California is really strict on tight house rulings and how you can import, how you can export, and this and that. So the rules are very strict on that
Right,
to the state.
thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much for coming up.
Thank you so much.
Any questions on this amendment?
No.
Motion? Do I-
Anybody opposed?
Anybody opposed?
Make a motion to close public hearing?
Seconded?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice Chair Gillum,
Yes.
Commission Chair Hyde.
Yes. Read by title and only, title only, and adopt Planning Commission Resolution Number PC 20001, approving a request by Song Yoon Lee, SS Wholesale, Inc., doing business as Jobbers Wholesale, to allow the import and wholesale of beer and wine from existing wholesale business at 16100 through 1003 on Garfield Avenue in the PDPS, Plan Development and Performance Standard Zone. Do I hear a motion?
I have a motion to approve it.
I second it.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice Chair Gillum,
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Hyde.
Yes. Okay. Next item on the agenda,
Oral report.
number 7. Oral reports.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. At its meeting on Tuesday, the City Council approved the zone change on Garfield Avenue between Rosecrans and Somerset. This was something that you had recommended approval of at your meeting on in November of 2019. And the second item that the council looked at was a zoning ordinance text amendment to allow a digital billboard adjacent to the 710 freeway north of Rosecrans Avenue. And the Planning Commission recommended approval of this item at its December 10th, 2019 meeting.
So did the city approve that?
Yes, they did.
The board?
Yes. No, I'm sorry. They approved the amendment to the code.
Okay.
The process to establish a billboard will be a development agreement that will be reviewed by first the Planning Commission and then the City Council. And there will be an environmental analysis at that time also.
Okay. Any other questions of staff?
Nope.
I did have a comment.
Go ahead.
The gentleman that came to the December meeting from the industrial park at Paramount in Somerset, talking about the overnight parking on the weekends and people dumping things there.
Right.
John King and I met with him, went over some things that they could do to try to alleviate those issues. One of them was to hire security, others to put up security cameras, and to work with our public safety department. So I just wanted to let you know we did meet with them.
Good to hear. Was he satisfied or somewhat satisfied with that?
He's listened to our recommendations.
Good. Okay.
Great.
Planning commissioners, you have anything? City attorney?
No, sir.
Okay. Close the planning commission meeting until next month, second Tuesday of the month. Ernie?
The Paramount Development Review Board is called to order.
Got all music over there.
Roll call, members.
Is that you?
Board Member Gillum,
Yes.
Board Member Hyde,
Here.
Board Member Lopez,
Here.
Board Vice Chair Abrego,
Here.
Board Chair Esparza.
Here. Okay, item 1 is the approval of minutes of December 10th. I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve minutes.
Second.
Board Member Gillum,
Yes.
Board Member Hyde,
Yes.
Board Member Lopez,
Yes.
Board Vice Chair Abrego,
Yes.
Board Chair Esparza.
Yes. Any public comments?
No public comments.
Your business reports. Okay, item 2 is DRA number 19009, and that's a request by Ali Gasham to remodel an existing retail industrial building at 7340 Alondra Boulevard in the PDPS Plan Development with Performance Standards Zone. Report, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is the second part of the item that the Planning Commission heard, and this is a remodel, and it will incorporate modern architectural features, and John King will go over the details.
Thank you. You board members. So here's a view of how it will look, how they, the applicant would like to fix up this, you could say, boring building, the boring concrete tilt-up building, and make it more contemporary. So same applicant as the application from the Planning Commission. So again, the request is to remodel an existing retail, industrial, or wholesale building in this case. It's in the PDPS zone. The building was built in 1986. You'll remember that the zoning came about in 1987, so it was build the building, then City Council adopted the regulations. And the longtime tenant there, or an owner and tenant, is Platini Cougar Jeans. And you might remember years back, it was a stationery store. So here's the same view near Alondra and Garfield, the southwest of Alondra and Garfield, outlined in red. And you'll see in the green is the, now we're going to focus on just that property, 7340 Alondra Boulevard. The building's 33,000 square feet, which is divided into front and back. The front is the retail. It's about 15,165. The back is 17,933 square feet. And that's the wholesale. That's where all the action is. So they want to liven that up. So here's a site plan. At the top is Alondra Boulevard. And you can kind of see the dividing line here. That's like you're looking at the rooftop. It's actually, I think it's a lighter painted roof when you're up there. It's kind of hard to tell. Well, we'll get more into it, but in this view, there's actually a lot more parking from before. If you go there now, there's 54 parking spaces with like maybe 2 cars parked there. This would really bump it up to 75. And one way that was accomplished is actually now 2 driveways. We ran this by the city engineer, who's fine with this proposal as long as the one driveway, the remaining driveway, is it's 26 feet wide. And he said that's wide enough for trucks and whatnot, and for access. So by closing that one driveway, that helped with the reconfiguration, and there's some changes. You're going to end up with a really nice landscape frontage, drought-tolerant landscaping, and new landscaping throughout. You'll see there's a seating area out there. There's actually an electric vehicle charging station proposed. So this is really going to bring us into the future, take us into the future. Here's an up-close view. So you can see it already anticipating the food hall. So they'll get their CUP, and then that can come to life. But for now, we're looking at the design elements. So there's some brickwork, kind of a throwback kind of brickwork tied in with more of the vertical style corrugated metal, with a horizontal style corrugated metal, very contemporary along the top, metal awnings, some inviting glass and storefront windows, seating area, landscaping. What's missing here, you'll see are trees. There were some trees that were removed a few years ago, but in your conditions, your recommended conditions, there are conditions to install mature trees. So they'll be installed throughout the property. Here's another view. So you'll see some inviting, that little signage at the front that it's a construct to make it more inviting to pedestrians. Like we mentioned, well, maybe we didn't. There'll be new lighting throughout, upgraded lighting, LED that would be brighter and more energy efficient, save energy, and again, help out the pedestrians and people dining there. Different material, so wood cladding and toward the back. So we think this is a positive for Paramount. It's a huge upgrade to what's there, and we're looking forward to this going through the plan check process and construction. So with that, we recommend approval. And again, the applicant is here if you have any questions for the applicant.
Have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Ernie, I have a question. What is the purpose of the block wall that's being added to this property?
The block wall on the front, or?
It's on the sides. It's on the side of the building, and then it's along the parking lot, I guess. Is that to prevent?
Oh, you mean at the very front here?
Prevent businesses from walking across their parking lot, or
Let's see here.
or is it just to prevent like, I don't know, robberies into the vehicles, or right there?
Oh, on the existing photo,
Where
or?
all the lighting is, all the way to the right.
All the way.
There's is that a block wall?
Oh,
or is that
I'm
just
sorry.
Shaded.
There's actually a wall there. Well, if you go there are mature trees that are there now, so it's like a curtain of plantings.
Okay.
So a lot of times, yeah, property owners they look to have a block wall along just for privacy and to just kind of enclose what they're doing.
I have the Paramount Works app, and so what I do is every time I drive along Paramount, I use it to not prevent graffiti, but to snap a picture of a graffiti, and the block wall seems to attract people to make sure that they're, I guess that's their turf or whatever you want to say. So I don't know if there's going to be kind of greenery on there, like
Right, that's a
certain
good
areas in
point.
Paramount where they added
Well,
signs.
when we review the landscape plan, we'll be sure to note that. One example would be when you approve the the relocated Starbucks at the former KFC, that was our intention to make sure that that wall gets the planting treatment on there. So that serves a lot of security, and also it's nice and it absorbs a lot of dust. So
I know this is going to attract the local businesses to your right, so I'm sure if they want to have lunch, they'll just either drive around or they can walk around that wall, correct?
walk around that. Oh yes, the businesses to the east. It's an
Instead
easy
of
walk.
walking across their little plants.
Right.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do. On handicap parking spaces, I didn't see any in the lot.
There are. We worked with the applicant to make sure it's right, and with building and safety to. On the you're right on the presentation they're not shown, but if you look at your agenda packet, there are there's supposed to be 3, right, for 75. Yeah, they will be required to have 3 ADA compliant parking stalls. And the it's kind of interesting. The electric vehicle charging station will, although it's not technically an ADA stall, will not be marked as ADA. They're required to be ADA compliant.
Got it. And how about bicycle racks?
Yes, most definitely, and that I believe that's a condition as well. And we're looking again for the upside down
3 that are required.
U.
3 are
Rack.
required? Because I didn't see
think
that in
that's
the
what I saw.
photo. I was
And,
just wondering. I was looking out
Oh, you're right.
front.
You're right. We're going to defer that to the conditional use permit.
Okay. Very good.
Any other questions from this?
No, that's
How about
all.
Steve? Steve, you want to make?
Is there some city artwork at this site? Maybe I'm confusing it with a different area, but is there some kind of city statue there?
No, I don't think there is.
With Javier, I can remember a long time ago when we had buildings in there, when the stationery store was in that area, or in that we had problems with the graffiti. Can you remember maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, on the sides of the buildings of some of the merchants in that area? And we did allow them to put some kind of ivy or something to grow on their buildings to keep the graffiti down. Do you remember? That was maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
It's vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
In that area.
That area specifically, because I
It was
remember.
the glass.
Yeah.
I saw people
Oh, the
scratching
etching.
the glass.
And the etching
We
too.
right. We did a remodel.
Glasses.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a remodel. Oh, you're talking about at this
I don't
location.
think
Yeah,
I'm
you're right.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious.
Only comment I have is going to be a nice area in that,
Yeah.
we don't
Something
have
different. I think it's great for
different
the community.
for the community, for that area that we don't
Especially on that side of the city.
have. In that side of the city. Okay. We'll have motion in order to approve a request by Al Casham to remodel an existing retail industrial building at 7340 Alondra Boulevard in the planned development with performance standards zone. Need a motion?
Make a move to approve DRA number 19009.
I'll second it.
Move in second.
Board Member Gillum,
Yes.
Board Member Hyde,
Yes.
Board Member Lopez,
Yes.
Board Vice Chair Abrego,
Yes.
Board Chair Esparza.
Yes. Any comments from board members, staff?
None from staff.
The Paramount Development Review Board is adjourned till February 11th, 2020.
Move that down to your manager.
The regular meeting of the Economic Development Board is called to order. Roll call, please.
Board Member Esparza,
Here?
Board Member Gillum,
Here.
Board Member Hyde,
Here.
Board Vice Chair Abrego,
Here.
Board Chair Lopez.
Here. First item is the approval of minutes for the month of December. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll
Make a
approve the
motion to
minutes.
approve.
Second.
Board Member Esparza,
Yes.
Board Member Gillum,
Yes.
Board Member Hyde,
Yes.
Board Vice Chair Abrego,
Yes.
Board Chair Lopez.
Yes. It has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of December. May we have a roll call, please?
Board Member Esparza,
Yes.
Board Member Gillum,
Yes.
Board Member Hyde,
Yes.
Board Vice Chair Abrego,
Yes.
Board Chair Lopez.
Yes. Are there any announcements, comments, or questions from the audience not pertaining to items on the agenda?
No.
Item number 2 is the Assistant Director's monthly report. Staff, please.
John King.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Board Chair Lopez and board members. This is just a general review of economic development, and this was actually a similar presentation was presented to the City Council, the City Manager, and a broker named James Rodriguez from a company called Colliers. You might see his name on a lot of those broker signs throughout town. He does a lot of work in town through the year. He has done a lot of work through the years. They did this presentation, so this is basically a recap for anyone, a review for anyone who attended the City Council meeting. It might be a little more condensed. Here's a view, the Paramount Boulevard looking north from Jackson Street, or what's now Paramount Boulevard. And you've seen this before. It's just always interesting to take a look at how it used to be, how it was. Economic development overview. So some of the things to go over, redevelopment. So we hear a lot about what the city accomplished with the power of redevelopment, and then it was taken away. There was a statewide decision signed by the legislature, signed by then Governor Brown, to eliminate redevelopment agencies throughout the state. That happened about 5 years ago, or a little more than 5 years ago. Get a little bit into the post-redevelopment agency era here in town and the city's adaptation and efforts with that end. There have been a few reports, and there are some challenges and opportunities. But we look toward the opportunities, right? Want to focus on the good. Definition, economic development. That's the process for the economic well-being and quality of life of a nation or local community is improved. You always want to move forward and upward, onward and upward. Key elements include retaining and attracting quality businesses that provide jobs. So there's economic development. There's kind of two ways to look at it. It's workforce development, improving the skills of the workforce, making sure that the kids in high school especially are getting the right education and seeing what a city can do. And on the other end, getting quality businesses here in town, a broad range, and we want to keep them here. We want to keep the good guys, good folks. Provide resources to the community, and these businesses produce sales tax. Cities are highly reliant on sales tax. Just the way you saw the presentation earlier in the Planning Commission meeting, it's a huge thing for cities to provide services and to maintain and improve the infrastructure. And this is a diagram that demonstrates how this works. And I could thank in turn Josephine Pham for putting this together. It's a good demonstration of the kind of the cycle of life with economic development. So you can see at the upper left, that's a store that represents some of the big retailers in town, especially Home Depot, Walmart, and all the mom and pops that contribute. Folks shop there. There's a shopping cart. You spend money. Our sales tax rate is 9.5%. We get our 1 penny out of every dollar, and that supports government. That supports what we do, our services, and leading into maintaining the infrastructure. Now, if you're a business and you're looking at where can I locate, you're not going to go to a mess. You want to go to a well-run city that looks great, and that's what you've done. That's what the staff has done. City Council, the community. That's what we look for, and that's what we strive for. So just a little history here. 1945, it was the first of the California redevelopment agencies. Didn't really take off until the late 60s statewide. So to get us to 73, that's when Paramount developed a Paramount Redevelopment Agency. And it's been huge. 1985, the council, so back to economic development in general, we've done some reviews on the development plan. The council updated the Paramount General Plan that included an economic development element, and that's pretty unique for cities to have that. Not all cities do that. In 1996, what we're doing now, the Economic Development Board came into being, and that's goes to show we value economic development. Here's some looks at how the city used to be. And there's the plan, the redevelopment plan. Again, 2012, that's when the agencies were eliminated. They're eliminated, and back to what the role is. It's always been about bettering the quality of life. Many positive accomplishments have happened. including 20% of all redevelopment funds had to go toward affordable housing. And with that, that's been, we talk about the housing crisis. It's huge. That was the hugest source. So when you look at why aren't we keeping up? Why are there more homeless? Why are there more people experiencing homelessness? One thing you can look at is the loss of redevelopment, that huge funding source. Eliminated blight, slum and blight conditions. It revitalized cities in Paramount. Lots of public improvements. I'll show you some examples. So achievements, and these are kind of money drivers. These are the big names. Home Depot, Starbucks. At the time, you've heard, you were part of this. Starbucks did not want to locate here, but through the efforts of our city staff and the agency, Starbucks finally turned things around. Now they're everywhere. It really was a pilot project for them to come to Paramount. Stater Brothers and Ross were all part of redevelopment. Got some befores and afters. We threw in the car wash, it's car wash day, and some smaller businesses. It's also the mom and pops. Cruise Market, it's now Stephanie's Market, was updated. Tom's Differentials, it's now the Gear Shop. These are commercial rehabilitation projects that were done through redevelopment. Paramount Trophy, which is now a mixture of some businesses and possibly you may be reviewing a medical proposal. We'll see. Improvement. So again, a business is looking for a nice community. There's a smiling kid. They want smiley, not just smiley, but a positive environment. So we use this money to improve sidewalks, resurface streets. We had the picket fence program that really transformed the city. Traffic signals, landscaping along the roads along the 105 freeway. Water mains, water wells, pools, park improvements, civic center. This civic center where we are now, it was, if you remember, it was just a raw parking lot. And through the redevelopment agency, through this tool, we were able to make it a kind of a little oasis, a park. We're a park-starved community. It was a great. Other examples: Village Park, or on Garfield Park, and the park on Alondra near on the west side of town. I'm blanking on the name. Clearwater Building acquisition. On and on. We love our parks, and here's the governor who eliminated it. So what have we done? We didn't stop. We don't just put our heads in the sand, as they say. So we've adapted. We've really pushed our Shop Local campaign. We've done a lot with the rise of social media, put the word out for new businesses. We've collaborated with the Chamber of Commerce. Today there was a ribbon cutting just around the corner, a new barber shop on Jackson and Paramount. City was there. We go there. We show our support for new businesses and small businesses especially. We work on the downtown. Some challenges. There's a lot of external factors. We're a small city. We can't help that Amazon is taking over. But we do look to the future. There's opportunities, particularly at the swap meet site. The owners have come around. They've realized that the swap meet is great. They want to continue that as a business incubator, having some vendors, but more at a smaller scale and something nicer, and have housing, have a development that ties in with the rail stations. So that's it. I know you may have some comments, and John Carver and I can answer.
I have some questions. You went to Sacramento. Somebody did.
John Carver.
Can you tell me a little about what AB 50 is and what effect it's going to have on the city?
Oh, Senate Bill 50.
Senate Bill, SB 50.
Scott Wiener, right.
Yeah.
So he made some modifications from last year. It's still not good for us. The main modification was that cities would have 2 years to develop their own housing plan to meet the housing number requirements that are in his bill. So it would give us two.
What would that be?
It can't be done in 2 years.
Yeah.
You have to hire a consultant. You have to do an environmental analysis. You have to come up with a plan, and you can't do that in 2 years. So it doesn't really help us. What it means is it gets rid of single-family residential zones. His proposal allows for fourplexes, so you could go into your property. Somebody could buy that and put a fourplex there. That would be legal under his under this bill. It's not good.
Is that for the entire city or just
It would
near
be the entire
transit?
city. No, the fourplexes would be throughout the city. There are other requirements as you get nearer to transit. Those deal with the heights of a residential. So as you get closer, you can go up to 55 feet, and if you're a little further away, you're at 45 feet. So for multifamily residential. So those are the things that are affected by how close you are to transit.
So they're kind of taking over to the planning department and almost city councils. in
Oh,
every
yeah,
city.
taking away local control
Yeah, that's
completely.
what they've done.
Okay, the
But
swap meet,
sending no money down either, right?
No.
Yeah, typical.
when they take the swap meet out, they're not taking the theater down, are they?
The walk-in theater?
Yeah,
No, that's there aren't any plans to
that
do
was-
that. No.
that's good. Somebody asked me that, so I thought.
Sure.
Are we expected to get a more extensive report on SB 50 later in the year?
Yes, in fact, we're going to be giving a report to the council at their January 28th meeting. So I could give you that update next month if you'd like.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'd like to know, I'd like to
Yeah.
know. That idea, it just doesn't sit well with me.
No. It,
I mean, you lose control of your total community.
Right.
And it comes from the state, but no funds to come with it. They just
No.
dictate the programs and irritates the you-know-what out. Sorry about that.
Any other comments from board members or staff? All right, since there's no further business, the meeting of January 2020 is adjourned to the next regular meeting of the Economic Development Board, second Tuesday of next month at 6 p.m.